C2, the binomial expansion, example 2. So, we have just learnt that this notation, NR, one over the top of each other in brackets, actually means NCR. And this can be found by doing N factorial divided by R factorial N minus R factorial. So here in example 2, we need to evaluate NR without a calculator. So even though there is a way of typing it into your calculator, in this question we are not using calculators. So firstly, part A, we have 4, 1, which means for C1, which is equal to 4 factorial divided by 1 factorial 4 minus 1 factorial. So this 4 factorial on the top means 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 divided by 1. 4 minus 1 gives us 3, so that'll be times 3 times 2 times 1. And as we can see, this 3, 2, 1 here cancels out with this 3, 2, 1 here. So we're just left with 4 divided by 1. So our answer for part A is 4. Moving on to part B, which is 4, 0. This is 4C0, which is equal to 4 factorial divided by 0 factorial 4 minus 0 factorial. So this actually gives us 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. Now, do not be tempted to say 0 factorial equals 0. 0 factorial actually equals 1. So always remember 0 factorial equals 1. And then 4 minus 0 factorial, well that's just 4 factorial again. So that'd be 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. And as we did in this first example, we will cancel out the 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 with the 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 on the top, which will just give us 1 divided by 1, which equals 1. And whenever it is, even if it was 2000, choose 0, it'll still give us 1. Moving on to part C, where we've got 10, 3, which is 10C3. So this will give us 10 factorial divided by 3 factorial 10 minus 3 factorial. So this is equal to 10 times 9 times 8 times 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 divided by 3 times 2 times 1, and 10 minus 3 gives me 7, so 7 factorial, so that'll be times 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. So as within the two previous examples, this from 7 downwards will cancel out from this from 7 downwards. And then you can also say that 3 divides 9, so that becomes 3, and 2 divides 8, so that becomes 4. And we're left with 10 times 3 times 4, which gives us the answer 120. Now for part D, we have n choose 2. So it'll be nc2, which will give us n factorial over 2 factorial n minus 2 factorial. Now bearing in mind that this actually means n times n minus 1 times n minus 2 times on and on and on down to times 1, and that will be divided by 2 times 1, and then n minus 2 factorial. So that'll be n minus 2 times n minus 3, and so on down to times 1. Now here we've got n minus 2 times dot dot dot, and we've got n minus 2, n minus 3, and so on. So this at the top here actually cancels with this n minus 2 factorial part here. So that means that all we are left with is n lots of n minus 1 all divided by 2. On to part E now, which I can't see anymore. Scroll up. N3. So that's N3, which equals NC3, which equals n factorial, all divided by 3 factorial times n minus 3 factorial. And the same way as before, this is equal to n times n minus 1 times n minus 2 times n minus 3, and so on down to 1, divided by 3 times 2 times 1 times this n minus 3 factorial, which will be n minus 3 times n minus 4 times dot 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 all the way down to times 1. So again, from n minus 3 down here, that will be cancelled with this n minus 3 here. So that means that all we are left with is n lots of n minus 1 times n minus 2 all divided by 6.